GoForThe2.com in with the Week 8 college predictions. Apologies for the late video. Had a family member that was affected by Hurricane Milton, so been dealing with that for the past 5 or 6 days. Apologies. Next week will be most likely on time in the morning on Tuesday, but we'll jump right into the rapid fire picks. 7 selections, mostly SEC based. Going to rapid fire. You want all the breakdowns, you could tune into Carver and Lisi throughout the week. College football today on Sports Grid, 9 a.m. to 12 noon. Saturday mornings, we got you covered for kickoff, Sirius Channel 159 or sportsgrid.com. So let's jump right into it. Big matchup, Texas, Georgia. We know what Texas has been able to do. They dominate the Red River rivalry as a 14.5-point favorite. Quinn Ewers steps up, 200-plus passing yards. The defense made Michael Hawkins and that Oklahoma offense completely one-dimensional. Shut them down. We have a Georgia team that struggled for the most part from the spread perspective with Mississippi State. Back-to-back games since losing against Alabama now. Georgia has won but has not covered the number. They struggled in a rivalry game against Auburn, struggled at home as a 32.5-point home favorite over Miss State. Now they're catching 3.5 on the road in Austin. This is a get-right spot. Either you're for real or you're not if you're the Georgia Bulldogs, and I think they are for real. I think they're still one of the best teams in the nation. I think Carson Beck, Quinn Ewers could be a dynamic matchup, and I think the Georgia defense comes to play Saturday night under the lights in Austin. Georgia catching 3.5 points. I think they win the ball game outright. Give me the Bulldogs against Texas. We'll dive into that throughout the week, so tune in to Sports Grid. Another SEC matchup. You have Alabama on the road against Tennessee. This game was 34-20 last year. Alabama late cover in the fourth quarter as an 8.5-point home favorite. Joe Milton and Tennessee were in that game from start to finish. From the spread perspective, or let me rephrase that, the series perspective, has been dominated by Alabama. They've won 16 of the last 17 meetings. Last time in Knoxville, though, Hendon Hooker and Tennessee struck the upset 52-49. Tennessee got pushed to the limit by Florida. I liked Florida last week. They should have won that game. Couldn't pull it out in overtime. And Tennessee prevails by 6. Jalen Milroe and Alabama got pushed to the limit by Lenora Sellers and South Carolina. This game is going to come down to which quarterback is going to be more consistent. Which offense do you believe more in? And I believe more in Alabama right now. They have the better quarterback in Jalen Milroe. He can run it. He could throw it. Nico and that offense still inconsistent. The timing of the passing attack has not been there in recent weeks. The rushing attack hasn't been as dominant as we've seen in the start of the year. And I think that's a cause of concern heading into this matchup against Jalen Milroe. It's going to be a close game, might even be high scoring, but I do feel Alabama prevails and covers the 3-point number Saturday night in Knoxville. LSU, Arkansas. These games are always crazy. Last year, 34-31, KJ Jefferson in Arkansas pushed LSU to the limit. LSU got pushed to the limit yet again by Jackson Dart, and they prevailed in overtime. Big touchdown pass. Nussmeier over 300 yards. Kyron Lacey with a huge reception in overtime. But the biggest factor for me is Blake Baker and that defense. They are flying to the football. Since Harold Perkins got out of that lineup, this defense has been opportunistic. They're rushing the quarterback consistently. Third down defense has been phenomenal over the past 3 weeks, and I think that carries through against a very blue-collar team in Arkansas. LSU has won 7 of the last 8 in regards to the series. These games are crazy, but I'm going to lay the short number with LSU on the road. I think they get it done, win it by a touchdown or more against the Razorbacks. Miami, Louisville, Cam Ward, Tyler Shuck. We saw Louisville yet struggle again with a very good Virginia team. Virginia was 4-1 entering that matchup. Blue collar, methodical type of offense, and defense doesn't give up a lot of big plays. They were patient enough and won it by 4, 24-20. This line opened up at 4. It's up to 4.5, maybe some 5s, depending upon where you go. Miami, back-to-back road games. This is a game last year. They were 1-point dogs and lost the game at home in South Beach, but it's a much different team in regards to Miami. They're confident. They have the better and more consistent quarterback in Cam Ward. And how many close calls can you have? This is an opportunity to really showcase if you're for real. I think Miami does that. They dominate this game and cover the 4.5-point number against the Cardinals. You look at the Cardinals' 2 losses, SMU, Notre Dame. They haven't stepped up against better competition. And I just think that maybe a slight regression from Jeff Brom this year. Give me Miami to cover the number. Another close game, Big Ten, Michigan laying 3.5 against Illinois. Michigan has won 5 straight in the series. Last time they played, it was a very close game, 19-17. But Michigan, blue collar, coming out of a bye week. I think Michigan can knock off Illinois by at least 4 points, 7. I think they can run the football. Not sold on Illinois being an elite team. They got pushed to the limit by Purdue. I think Michigan can run the football. I don't think they need the passing attack that much. Give me Michigan to dominate this game in the trenches. They've won 5 straight. I think running the football travels well, especially in Champaign. I think they win it by 7 to 10 points against the Fighting Illini. Another intriguing battle, SEC. You got Missouri dominating, covering the 27.5-point number against UMass, and we have Auburn coming out of a bye week. Auburn right now searching for answers, 0-3 in the conference. 2 years ago, this game went right down to the wire in overtime, and they stole it because the kid from Missouri fumbled outside the end zone. Now Auburn's the dog. Not Gus Malzahn, Hugh Freeze catching 5.5 points in this matchup. On the road, I'm not sold Missouri's an elite defense. Give me the Tigers, the Auburn Tigers, to strike the upset as a 5.5-point underdog against Missouri. Last one that I have for you is Nebraska. I have a few others I'm going to put out on Saturday morning, but Nebraska plus the 6.5 against Indiana. I just think Nebraska's the more physical team, not to take away from Kirk Cignetti and obviously Curtis Rourke that have gotten it done, but this is going to be the most physical game Indiana's played up until this point. They're laying 6.5 at home in Bloomington. I know Dylan Raiola, a freshman, going on the road in this environment. Give me Matt Rule with the points. I think they strike the upset over Indiana. Your 7 picks for the weekend. Georgia plus the 3.5. LSU minus the 3. Alabama minus the 3. Michigan minus the 3.5. Miami minus the 4.5. You got Auburn plus the 5.5 and Nebraska plus the 6.5. Your 7 picks for the weekend.